I'd like to thank everybody that supports the WBE, whether it's through Patreon or Amazon wishlist or PayPal or sending me stuff in the mail. Thanks a lot, everybody. My earliest memory is riding in my grandfather's boat, arm over the side, hand in the spray. I've spent much of the rest of my life chasing this feeling. All of that has led to this, the wooden boat experience. You get to the boat shed, it's sunny out, it's warm, and you've got a plan. And then, without even hearing a noise, there comes that monkey wrench thrown into things. I'm not exactly sure, except possibly maybe some of this varnish that is here on the top ended up down in these threads, but man, this thing is really hard to get out of here. And I'm trying not to destroy the shaft while I do it. It's not getting much easier, that's for sure. And it doesn't help that my workbench is such a disaster. It's not surprising that I often don't get as much done as it seems like I should. Maybe Saturday will go a little better. These two pieces of oak came out of an old lineman, and they were just some stuff that was somewhere, I think, like maybe floor beams or something. Nothing wrong with it. These would be really good to use up in the front to hold the shelves in the bow. You don't need much strength. This stuff is really good. It's nice old, pretty tight grain. Just sanded all the gunk off of them. I ripped it in half. Got some old santan paint on here, which is a color you always see in linings in the hull, in the bilge, I mean. As you can see, everything is in place. The whole dry fit has been done. The only thing that's not done is the 3 bolts are not drilled through on this, on the lifting bar yet. And that's because I can't get the drill in that backside, but I've got them marked, so I know where they are, so I'll drill that when I pull this out. You can see that this little thing is here to hold the shelf. I've got one on there to hold that shelf. The reason we are going to pull this apart, take everything that we've already put together apart, is I want to paint this whole area in here. So everything from this line behind the dash forward is going to get painted, and I don't want to try to paint it with all of these ribs in here and these pieces in here. I'd rather have a nice open area, get in there, paint that, take all the pieces into the studio, paint those where it's warm. They'll dry a little bit quicker, and then we will put everything back together. And we haven't glued the scarfs. We haven't glued these supports here. None of that's epoxied. So we'll do all that at the same time afterwards. I've got all these parts marked, so I won't paint where I'm going to epoxy. You can see a pencil line there and there. Just letting me know, leave that wood bare behind those spots. I know it sounds like a pain, but it's going to make for a better job, because the back of these new ribs will be painted. The back of these frames will be painted. By back, I mean the part that's going down. And underneath them will be painted on the boat. The one reason I kind of don't want to paint up here in the bow is the original things that are written here. So you can see, here's the garboard strake here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there, that strake is marked number 8. This would be 9, that would be 10, which is marked right there behind that frame. And then number 11, you can see, is marked right here. And then up at the top, I don't know if you can see it, but it says shear. So that's the shear strake. Those are interesting things to see. Now they're only on that side. I don't see any of those on this side. I'm pretty sure that's all original though. So it gives you a little insight into what was going on when they built these boats. But it'll be a lot better if this is all painted and fresh. It will allow me to a lot easier time for me to keep it clean. Okay, well that's painted. These spots here and over here are going to get glued, so I didn't paint those. We did the underside of the deck. Holy cow, the fumes are terrible in here. Oh, I gotta keep the heater running for a little while. And I've still got to paint the parts, but I'll do that in the studio. Looks pretty cool up there. It'll be much easier to keep clean and to know when it is dirty. Anxious to get it back together. That happens tomorrow. I'm going to get my mask back on and clean up a little bit and get out of here. It felt strange to not have stripped or scraped any paint or varnish off recently, so I brought the bow access door in with me and stripped the varnish off that. Okay, we got the heater. Here's all the parts waiting to go in a little while. But we're heading out now to the boat shed. Put this heater in place so that, hold on, gotta close the door here. Because not only do we have to screw those pieces in place and bolt them, but some of them have to be glued where those fish plates are. So we want a little bit of heat in there because, I don't know, feels like it's a little bit above freezing here. It's probably only 35 in the boat shed. We've still got that tarp on the boat. So we will put this heater in place, let it warm up for a little while, and then we'll put this back together. And then, come on, Spec. And then we can get to editing, which is what I'm supposed to be doing on Thursday. There's the cover on the boat. We'll go around this way. Got that tarp on there, old canvas tarp, and a moving blanket, which will keep that heat in. It was very strange yesterday when I was working in here. So it was pretty cold in here. And I actually had to take my jacket off. Trying to climb this ladder while I'm talking to you. I had to take my sweatshirt off because inside of the bow I was too hot, but my feet, which were out in this area here, were really cold. It was a strange situation. Okay, I'm gonna hook this up. Looks pretty good in there. All right, we'll set this cover not on top of the heater, but we'll drape it down a little bit. It'll keep a lot of the heat in there, but still be safe. Yeah, what are we working on? Well, there it is. Chris Craft Sea Skiff. We'll be using that Total Bilge. I think it's called Total Bilge. The gray bilge paint. I gotta look at that again. But that's what we're using. And also some of the flexible epoxy. And we've got a picture to put up on that transom. Some new stuff for the transom. This picture right here, I just like it so much because it was on Facebook. Tommy B was talking about, I believe it was his grandfather, and maybe it was his uncle. I see so many people on there, I forget. But anyway, whoever it was, Tommy B's relative painted his boat to look like when he was in the Navy, and the gray, I just love the way this looks. I don't know if I'd paint my boat that way, but I love the way this boat looks, and matches the gray on my finger, as you can see. And it looks like what the Chris Craft is looking like right now. But it's just a cool looking boat. I love that, Tommy B. And Dennis Dorsey sent me this nice letter, and he knows Andy Derby, and Andy worked on this part of Dennis's lineman. You can see some pictures of his lineman right there. And thanks, Dennis. I love getting images and letters in the mail, and they all go up here. We are getting near the end of this project. This part of it anyway. We're not getting near the end of the project, but we're getting near the end of this mini project. Let's call it that. All right, now we will go on the outside of the boat and screw that down. You've got to screw these machine screws in all the way, because the fact that they're not pushing right in means that they're catching against the sides of the white oak. And you can see it's actually drawn that strake up. So if you try to use the nut to pull that up through, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to tighten it at the top, and in between it'll be loose. But these other ones should be a little easier. Oh, rats, the whole thing's turning. Well, that doesn't happen very often. Let's see if that'll work. I'll go outside the boat and try turning that. Let's see if it holds. Perfect. All right, all that's left to do is just a little bit of touch-up paint. If I can find a screwdriver and open this can. Opening it with a crowbar. Whatever works at this point. It's now about, I don't know, it's after 2 o'clock. And last night I only did the very beginning of the video, so I am really in trouble. So I got to do this quick and get editing. But I don't want to leave this undone. Looks like crap. These spots I didn't quite get right where I thought was going to be glued, and then there's a couple little spots here of places where I hit with that black hammer, which makes a mess. See the lifting eye up here? There it is. All in place. When I tried to use that lifting eye to pick this boat up, it actually broke loose. And it was because the wood down on that bottom triangle was all dry rotted and broke out. So that problem is solved. The only thing that really needs to be done up there is the wiring. Make the plywood pieces that are going to make the little shelves that are going to be here and up there. We'll do that after we'll measure it first and build those, but we probably won't put them in until after the dash is in, which is one of the next things. And also, we're going to start dealing with the gas tank in this area back in the transom. Might want to come in here and chop this out pretty soon. Get that oak out of there. I'm Scott.ouderkirk. Thanks for joining me on the Wooden Boat Experience.